Alright, so I'm going to be covering some of the most common charging myths, and I'm going to be giving you the answers. What's accurate, what's not, how do things work, and just the overall rundown of smartphone batteries. So let's get into it. So first off, let's talk about maximum capacity and sort of how it works, how it's measured. So if you check your cell phone's battery settings, or really a smartphone, you'll see typically I have an iPhone, but under the battery menu and then the switch that says battery health and charging, there'll be a little piece of text that says maximum capacity, and beside it will be a percentage. So you might be wondering, what does this mean? Like, how is it used to help you figure out your battery capacity? So it is basically, think of it like this. It's the new highest amount your phone can charge at. And so obviously it charges to 100%. However, as lithium ion batteries degrade, they do lose out on some of their maximum capacity. And so if you think about it like this, right? Think of it as that percentage is how much your battery charges to. So if your maximum capacity is 95%, just think of it every morning, even though your phone says it's charging to 100%, think of your phone only charging to 95%. Or say, for example, your capacity is at 80%. In that case, your phone only charges to 80% each morning. And so that sort of, it's just telling you, like, you know, your phone can't hold the same amount of power it could when it first was released or had a new battery. So that's really a pretty simple rundown of maximum capacity. And I also do want to cover charge cycles for a second, because it does sort of kind of coexist with your maximum capacity. And so charge cycles are when the phone goes from 0 to 100 to 0 again. And so that means, first off, most smartphone batteries are rated at about 500 charge cycles. Some more, some less, but 500 seems to be the typical average. And so a charge cycle, like I said, is that from 0 to 100 to 0 again. But it's not necessarily like, you know, you probably aren't taking your phone from 0 to 100 to 0 every day. Although that does count as a charge cycle, you know, other people, for example, might take their phone off the charger at 100%. They use 80% of that battery that day, which leaves them with a total of 20% left for that day. Then they charge it back up to 100, and then they use 20% the next day. So now the phone battery would be 80%. But that also counts as a charge cycle. And so again, like, you go through a certain number of these, that's what lowers your maximum capacity. You know, there's very little you can do to get that number to slow down. It's just kind of a natural effect of lithium ion batteries, and although, you know, it'd be awesome if there was some better ways to do it, that's kind of what we're at right now. Alright, so let's get into some myths, because it's about time, right? So myth 1 is charging your phone overnight is bad. And, well, I mean, truly, that's just not the case, right? Newer smartphone batteries are created in such a way to where they just have technology that will prevent them from overcharging or having issues. You know, a lot of people talk about, like, yeah, you shouldn't charge your phone overnight. It'll be at 100% for too long. It could overcharge. Well, I mean, you know, again, with older pieces of technology, yeah, that was the case, but not now. For example, if you have an iPhone, you know, you might have seen a feature that happens where once it's to 80%, it'll actually stay there. That's called optimized battery charging, and it's designed to keep your battery at a relatively good level of charge for most of the night, and then when you wake up, that's when it gets up to 100%. It's things like that, and even if you don't have that enabled, even if it's sitting at 100% all night, like, you're not gonna break your battery by doing that. Alright, myth number 2, which is charging your phone to 100% and discharging it to 0% is bad. And again, also one of those things where it's not a definible yes it's bad or no it's not bad. If you have it down at 0 all the time, or you have it at 100 all the time, it's not gonna be great when it's either at 100% all the time or at 0% all the time. And like with the night thing, like, if you charge your phone and it stays at 100 all night, like, that's not really gonna be a problem. It's that, like, if you leave it plugged in all day and all night, 24/7, like, that's when it becomes a problem. But again, like, every once in a while, if your phone dies, that's totally fine. If it's charged up to 100% most of the night, that's also fine. It's sort of a balance. Alright, myth number 3 So this one is using unofficial chargers will actually damage your battery as it charges it. And this is another one of those, it depends on the charger, right? If you have an iPhone, for example, if you use an Apple original charger, obviously that's going to be best case scenario. It's perfect. It's designed for that phone. Now, if you use something like, if you use whatever off of Amazon, there's obviously different qualities. Like Anchor, for example, it's a relatively large charging brand. They make battery packs, chargers, things like that. They're another, like, that's pretty solid for your device. That wouldn't really cause any issues. Now, if you order like a $6 charger with one of those little wall adapter bricks off of like Amazon, I would be a little more concerned there. And it's not necessarily going to be an issue. However, it is possible that that's an issue. So if you do want, the best protection, the best efficiency, I would recommend using your device's charger that it came with. Most manufacturers will sell a longer charger to go with it. So, alright, and then we have myth number 4. And that one is using airplane mode speeds up your charging. And again, not really. It's more false than anything. So let's talk about it for a second, right? Airplane mode basically turns off a lot of connections and slows down certain things in your phone. Obviously for airplanes, I've not really flown on many planes, so I'm not sure the specifics, but I do know that airplane mode will actually turn off certain signals and do things like that to the device. And it's a common thought that when these things are turned off, your phone charges faster. And airplane mode is not designed to make your phone charge faster, but having your phone send out less of these signals and do less in the background will use less power, which technically does mean it can charge faster, but it's not really noticeable and it wasn't really designed for that. So it's just one of those things, it's like, it happens, but it's not designed with that in mind, And then lastly, I want to say, this is not a myth, this is just sort of a tip, but instead of buying a new smartphone, go get a new battery. Because a lot of the reason a lot of, less tech-savvy people buy new smartphones is because theirs is slowing down, it's getting old, there's certain things that they need a new phone for. Like, okay, for example, if you bought a new phone, this current phone would probably either be put in a drawer, given to someone, but eventually thrown away, right? And that just creates more landfill. You buy a new battery, you replace the same one in the same phone, you don't go buy a new phone, and this one doesn't end up in landfill near as quick, So it's just like, and the other thing too, a lot of companies will actually slow down the processing power of their device, but, in order to fit the needs of the degraded battery. So buying a new battery will literally speed up your phone. It might not be a crazy amount, not like buying a whole new phone, but it will definitely speed it up quite a lot. But hey, that's been it. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, as it helps me out a ton. And I hope you're looking forward to more, because I'm going to be making more. Anyway, see ya.